Hey everyone, today we're talking about the Pro Tobacco Sunburst T5z Hollowbody electric guitar. I know what you're thinking, another semi-hollow with a sunburst finish. Why this one? If you're on the fence about dropping cash on something that looks cool but might not play or sound how you need, stick around. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. This guitar sits in a weird spot between beginner and intermediate. It's not a $2,000 boutique piece, but it's also not a $200 starter. The urban ash body keeps the weight down without feeling flimsy, which is great if you're playing clubs or just jamming at home without your shoulder screaming. The figured maple top gives it that visual pop you'd expect from a sunburst finish, but the real question is whether the tone matches the looks. I've seen people use this for everything from blues leads to indie rhythm work. The mahogany neck is a nice surprise at this price. It's not super slim, but it's not chunky either. If you're used to super fast Ebony's necks, this might feel a little meatier, but that actually helps with chord grip if you're playing rhythm-heavy styles. The Ebony Fingerboard adds a bit of brightness to the mid-range, which cuts through a mix without needing to crank the amp. That's useful if you're playing with a band and don't want to fight for presence. Now, the Hollowbody thing. This isn't a full hollow like a Gibson ES335. It's more of a semi-hollow with a center block, so feedback isn't as much of a concern as you'd think. If you're planning to play high-gain settings with extreme reverb, you might still get some unwanted noise, but for most gigs or practice sessions, it's stable enough. The urban ash body doesn't resonate like a full hollow, so sustain is decent but not legendary. If you're chasing that singing, violin-like sustain from a vintage jazz box, this isn't it. But if you want something that sounds balanced and sits well in a mix without needing a ton of EQ tweaking, it does the job. Who should buy this? If you're a player who wants a guitar that looks pro without the pro price, this fits. It's also a solid choice if you're coming from a solid body and want to dip your toes into semi-hollow tones without going all in on a high-end model. The price point makes it easier to justify if you're upgrading from a starter guitar but don't want to mortgage your future for a boutique piece. Who should skip it? If you're a metal player who needs tight low-end and high-gain clarity, this guitar's warmth might leave you wanting more. It's also not ideal if you're allergic to sunburst finishes. This one is dark and moody, so if you want something brighter or more vintage-looking, keep searching. And if you're the type who needs every guitar to be ultra-lightweight, the Urban Ash is decent but not as featherlight as some chambered models out there. The biggest hidden trade-off? Setup. This guitar ships with decent strings and a basic setup, but if you're used to high-end instruments, you might want to get it professionally set up. A good setup can turn a meh guitar into something that feels premium, and at this price, it's worth the investment if you're serious about playing. The tuners are decent but not locking, so if you're the kind of player who bends strings aggressively, you might find yourself tuning more often than you'd like. Another thing to consider, the neck joint. It's not set neck, so don't expect the kind of sustain or resonance you'd get from a Gibson-style construction. But for the price, it's a fair compromise. The tone is warm and woody, which works great for blues, indie, and even some classic rock. If you're chasing a Stratocaster twang or a Les Paul growl, you'll need to tweak your amp settings or consider a different guitar. So, is it worth it? If you're looking for a guitar that looks and sounds like it costs way more than it does, and you're okay with a few minor compromises in setup and sustain, then yes. It's not going to replace a high-end instrument, but it's a fantastic value for the price. If you're a beginner, this might be overkill, but if you're upgrading or just want a reliable gigging guitar that doesn't break the bank, it's a solid pick. Check it out, and if it feels right, grab it. Link is in the description if you want to take a closer look.